Juraj Slafkovsky is off to a less than impressive start to the 2023-24 NHL season. He has 1 point in 9 games with the Montreal Canadiens, which prompted the analytics duo of Andy and Rono to say, yikes, 1.9 games. This is really not an ideal start for Juraj Slafkovsky into the season. We are really concerned that this could be the worst number 1 draft pick since Nail Yakupov, to be honest. And the mention of Yakupov, who is widely regarded as one of the biggest busts, not just of the modern NHL, but of all time, is obviously going to send chills down the spines of every Montreal Canadiens fan. I'm here to let you Habs fans know that the comparisons between Slafkovsky and Yakupov are entirely unfair, because Slafkovsky is most certainly worse than Yakupov was at this point in their careers. As of right now, Slafkovsky has played in 48 NHL games and recorded 11 points. He has 4 goals and 7 assists in his career. He just turned 19 in March, the same age that Yakupov was in his rookie season, when he, Yakupov, also played in 48 games. Over the same number of games that Slafkovsky has played throughout his 2 NHL seasons, Nail Yakupov recorded 17 goals and 31 points. In the same number of games, Yakupov had more goals than Slafkovsky has points, at the exact same age. The counter to this from Montreal fans would be that Yakupov peaked in his rookie year. He never really got any better, and that is true. His 31 points in 48 games was the best production on a point-per-game basis of his career. However, through the remainder of his short NHL career, Yakupov posted a higher points per game than Slafkovsky has put up so far in 4 of his 5 remaining seasons. That 5th season was 2016-2017 when he put up 9 points in 40 games as a member of the St. Louis Blues. And that points per game over an 82-game season would have been the difference of about half a point. That is the level we're talking about for Slafkovsky, a less productive player than Nail Yakupov ever was. And yes, Yakupov had all the issues off the ice that Slafkovsky does not seem to have, which is great. And it certainly gives him a better opportunity to overcome that lack of production early. But we also have to call a spade a spade. The lack of production for Slafkovsky so far is at a level that we have not seen. And I've seen some people mention Jack Hughes and his slow start as another comparable. But again, Hughes' lowest points per game mark in his rookie year is still miles above that of Slafkovsky. And I went back through all of the former number 1 overall picks, going back all the way to 2000, and I couldn't find any that had a point per game mark as low as Slafkovsky to start their careers. And I've seen a lot of suggestions from Habs fans that, well, Slafkovsky just needs a little more time to develop. He needs to maybe go play in the AHL to hone his game. And while I do agree that going to the AHL can be very good for players who maybe lack confidence, maybe haven't adapted to the North American game, or just haven't put it together mentally but have a lot of physical tools, maybe raw players who need to be developed, that's not the level that you should be expecting from a number 1 overall pick. Because believe it or not, the last time a number 1 overall pick spent time in the AHL was Ryan Nugent-Hopkins back in 2012-2013, because there was a labor stoppage, and so he and other first overall pick Taylor Hall went and played for the Oklahoma City Barons in the AHL until that stoppage was resolved. Before that work stoppage, the last time a first overall pick spent any time in the AHL was Marc-Andre Fleury, the goaltender for the Pittsburgh Penguins, back before he became the full-time starter. And you have to acknowledge that things are just very different for goaltenders. Like, it's not surprising that a guy like Fleury, even a number 1 overall pick, couldn't step into the NHL immediately. Frankly, goalies are kind of an enigma. They develop at their own pace. But do you want to know the last time that a skater, who was a number 1 overall pick, went down and played in the AHL, not because of a work stoppage? It was the first overall pick from the 1993 NHL draft, Alexander Daigle, widely regarded as the biggest bust in NHL draft history. And he even got a full 8 years bouncing around the NHL before he was finally relegated to the AHL. So the fact that we're talking about Slafkovsky going down to the AHL before his first year worth of games is even done is pretty shocking. And look, I'm not trying to put this on Slafkovsky because he seems like a good kid. He keeps his nose clean. He plays, a little bit of a style of game that maybe could take a bit more time to develop. So I don't put the blame on him more than I put the blame on the Montreal Canadiens for taking this kid. And their only saving grace is that we're not so far removed from that draft that not many players have gotten to play in the NHL full time. So we can't really look at this pick and say, like, here are the guys that they could have taken, but they passed up on. Although Logan Cooley is already looking like he could be a very good player, we don't really know how good Logan Cooley could be. But with the way that Slafkovsky is starting his career, he might not even develop into a middle six winger. He might not reach the levels of like a 40-point guy. I hate to be so pessimistic because, again, he seems like a good kid. And it is definitely so early in his career that I hate to throw the B word around, but we kind of have to be honest with what we've seen so far. It's been more than half a season's worth of games, and we have not seen any signs that Juraj Slafkovsky is not going to end up as a bust.